Getting straight to the point, Nydarax is the most impressive thing to happen to this game and has fixed bossing in Curse of Aros. Now I can't really say this without explaining why, but I can't do that without telling you about the history of bossing in Curse of Aros. So lay back as I explain and show bossing throughout the years. To start things off, we have the first boss, the Warbat. Level 25 and drops low level gear to start you off on your journey. Being the first boss, it's as simple as it comes, with the main way to beat it being just to hit it. No hidden mechanics or attacks, just hit, heal, and kill. Simple and easy, as the first boss should be. We then move on to the next boss, which is a big jump in levels, being the boss that drops level 70 Deadrock gear. This boss starts off with the mechanic of having a period of absorbing damage and then having a range where it expels all that stored power to deal massive damage, or in most cases, kill you on the spot in one shot. Simple to understand, and it still catches people off guard. Good second boss in my opinion. The boss following this was the Ancient Warbat, that had the mechanic of freezing you in place to deal damage, and in my opinion was just alright. I didn't find this boss all that interesting, but it's worth mentioning. Also in Mentalist, we have Ice Demon, the time-wasting god himself. If you want to troll someone, you send them here. Memes aside, this boss is alright. You kill it by reducing its shield by dragging it to the heaters on the floor. The boss is impossible to kill without doing this, so players can't just stand still. Decent boss in my opinion. And now we move on to the decent stuff. Varax's update rolls around and we get Golem. Borrowing the mechanic from Rock Demon, it absorbs damage and expels it in the area around it. However, Golem has another attack. Golem can bring down the ceiling to one-shot players, with the only escape being that there's a small grace period to run to the safe zone, highlighted by a big green box. This still catches me off guard and has claimed the lives of many. Great boss. Riding onto the momentum of Golem, we have Umbra, the guardian of Araxis. Now, Umbra has 3 stages. During the first stage, she sends out embers real slowly. You can walk and hit and should be able to avoid any damage, and if you do, you can out-heal the damage with health flasks. Step 2, Umbra slightly increases the ember firing speed, making you walk a bit faster to avoid getting burnt, but it's still manageable. Then comes the dreaded Stage 3. This stage drastically increases the ember firing speed, making sure that you have to use a pattern and coordination to beat this boss if you are a melee. If you messed up and stepped on a flame, you were probably cooked because getting burnt did damage and Umbra could cover the entire area in flames very quickly. Players started to challenge themselves with 4x4 and in rare cases, 3x3 patterns to kill this boss. The first time I tried to kill this thing, I had my ass handed to me. Amazing boss, and I still go back to this boss from time to time. Now, Desert Update rolls around and we get a boss that is arguably better than Umbra, Mummy. Finally finishing off melee progression, and it does not disappoint. Mummy sends out curse pools that deal massive damage on impact and give you a curse that deals damage over time. This damage is so heavy that it is required to use curse relics to reduce the damage to a manageable amount, and even then it is still easy to die if you don't dodge the curse pools and heal whenever possible. To kill Mummy, you have to kill the 4 cursed totems first because they heal Mummy, preventing you from killing it unless you're with a lot of people. The final and almost hidden mechanic was that after killing someone, Mummy would actually heal, so dying to Mummy was also a detriment to your team. And yes, I said team. Mummy was the first boss to actually require a team because of how much damage it did, the health of Mummy, and cursed totems that healed it. With an insane drop pool with high profit margins, this boss was easily my favorite for some time. The past 3 bosses were easily the best we've seen and would set the standard for any boss to come. With the highly anticipated Magic Update Part 2, players were excited about what we get for a Magic boss, and I'm not counting Nature Alder because, if we're being real, no one really cares for that boss. The long-awaited update would drop on the 1st of October 2022, and Nydarax would quickly take the game by storm. Psych! Nydarax's initial drop was bugged, so players couldn't access it. Lovely, I know, but thankfully it only took about 2 days to fix said bug and allow players to finally enter the boss room and start killing the best bot to come out to this day. Now, there's actually a lot more to Nydarax than people realize, being the only boss that is locked behind the skill level, that being level 77 Spellbinding, which is the level required to craft the terminal key to enter Nydarax. Keep note of this key because it will come up a lot later on. Unlike the bosses before it, Nydarax was a boss that could only be done in an instance, meaning that you had a private room to do the boss with 0 interruptions from outside variables like players. One terminal key granted you access to the private room for 30 minutes, and at the end of this 30 minutes the key would disappear, although it didn't matter much because Nydarax would drop enough keys for you to continue making new instances. Nydarax's mechanics on its own aren't difficult to understand. It has 4 main attacks, its main magic attack that does guaranteed damage to you from anywhere in the room, and its poison attack that covers the floor in a poisonous green goo that deals massive damage while also hitting Nydarax if you were to step on it. Its third attack is a barrage of webs that hold the player in place on hit and in most cases ends in your death because you're unable to avoid Nydarax's final and most devastating attack, its spider summon. Nydarax summons 2 types of spiders, the first being Drainage, which on hit heals Nydarax but also has a hidden bonus that the player can exploit. By killing these Drainage spiders, you can actually gain most, if not all of your health back that has been lost to simultaneous attacks, and in dire situations can grant you an escape path because getting hit by a Drainage spider only slightly heals Nydarax while dealing no damage to the player. All of this to say, everyone loves Drainage spiders. Now I really do wish I could say the same for its evil and wretched counterpart, Sacrifices. These kamikaze imitating bundles of Hellspawn are single-handedly the cause of me raging in a peaceful pixel MMO. These little things are fast and at the best of times deal half of your health and at the worst, kill you in one shot and strip you of any will to live. Trust me, I know. And unlike its counterpart, you get no bonuses for kill it. You're just forced to be happy that you aren't teleported to despawn, swinging at nothing like an idiot for the whole world to see. And I won't even bring up lag because if you think that you can beat Nydarax while lagging, you might be a little psychotic. My whining aside, all of these mechanics make for a great boss, but once you master these mechanics, surely the boss loses its difficulty, and the boss becomes another loot farming simulator. If you thought that, you would be wrong, because unlike every other boss before it, you can scale Nydarax's difficulty. Remember those keys I brought up earlier? Those keys are how you scale Nydarax. Allow me to explain. 1 turmoil key is equal to a 10% increase in Nydarax's difficulty, meaning if you had 10 keys in your inventory, that would be a 100% difficulty increase for you to deal with, and this can go on infinitely. Higher difficulty percentage enhances Nydarax's strength and individual attacks. The best Nydarax killers are able to go as high as 1000%, which is pretty much out of reach for 99% of the player base. Now the reason why the scaling is so interesting to me is because it hasn't been done before in Aros, and solves a problem that every boss has, a lack of longevity. Of course, you can still get bored with Nydarax, but you will still feel challenged every time you do it, and if you don't, you can increase the difficulty until you do. Nydarax also solves the problems of players competing for boss drops. Being an instanced boss, no one can enter your private room, making for a stress-free bossing session should you decide to do low difficulty Nydarax. Nydarax also has an insane drop pool that increases the higher your difficulty, so people have pretty much capped this boss since release. Now, I'm not saying Nydarax is revolutionary to gaming, but in the context of Curse of Aros, it outshines every boss before it, and I cannot be more happy as someone who's been playing for years. I hope that the devs continue to be creative with bosses so I have a reason to be sitting at that boss for hours on end. This video took some time to make, so if you enjoyed it, drop a like and subscribe too. That would be cool. It's completely free and keeps you updated on when I drop new videos. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you in the next one.